What is up, game changers? Welcome to the end game, my friends. So like all of you, this world has been quite intense, right? We are all hearing about April 8th. And recently I put out a video that is Judgment Day. What does that mean, right? Because that word alone sparks fear. What does that mean? Does that mean it's the end of the world? I do know, actually, and I'm going to debunk everything that you don't know, and I'm going to give you answers to everything that you need to know about it, okay? So for those who don't know me, my name is Master Juniper Blue Mystique. I am an ascension master, master healer, and a divine guide. I have spent since 2019, after I had my own Kundalini awakening, bringing the return of Christ. I am, in fact, the return of Christ. Please watch my channel for a detailed description of what that is. But for everybody else, I'm going to get right on into it, okay? So the reason I call you game changers, welcome to the end game, okay? There's a real God and there's a false God. And the whole entire world was created on the false God, okay? They took all of God's power and used it against you. And I'm going to tell you what that means. Some of you are familiar with the work that I've been doing, from freeing Jesus's soul to activating pyramids. Jesus did not die on a cross, okay? He didn't, I know, because I processed his death. I also brought the blood down to cleanse the earth. And at that time, I didn't know that was my twin soul and I. I didn't know. It was all part of my awakening. The Ankh is also the only true cross. Jesus didn't die on a cross. So anywhere there is a cross in Jesus, you might want to get rid of that very soon because that is also included in what is going to fall, okay? They actually showed me all the crosses like burning in the energy, so they will be getting rid of those. But what Judgment Day really is not Judgment Day at all, because God doesn't judge, my friends. And number one, this earth will never go anywhere. The earth is not going to die. So there's a lot of videos around there going, this is the end of the world. No, it's not. I promise you. The world will not end. It's changing. We're going back to the beginning of time. And then I also took us into 7D. Now I'm going to bring a lot of love into this video because I know I haven't done that before, because in truth, I don't get a lot of love back. And that is not my job to reflect that to all of you. Okay, because you choose not to see or you choose not to want to see, that's okay. That is okay. I know who I am and I know what love is, and that is God. Okay, so we've all been duped and lied to. They stole Jesus's blood. They wrote a contract in it, and that was the Holy Grail. All right, and that's why the anointing of the blood of Christ was the way it was. I actually brought down the blood. And then when I united Jesus and Miriam, I undid that contract, which is what they called the Holy Grail, and it was reversing it. And they wrote it all in his blood. And if you watched, it was so cool. That happened live. And the blood went down the contract and back into the earth to be cleansed and purified, okay? So Judgment Day is not what they tell you. They tell you a lot of things in the Bible that are not true. A lot of things that are not true. Okay. And actually, we saw what Judgment Day was even more as I did an exchange with one of my graduates, because I need healing too, right? I am a healer. I've been doing all this work to the earth, and unfortunately, I don't get a lot of love, not even from my own DM. Unfortunately, I wish I did, because I got a walk-in, and that was a whole other ballgame. That was a nasty mess. But the Bible tells you the bride of Christ will return. I came and I woke up my twin soul, and I fought hard for that soul, okay, because I had to save it. So these are the truths, all right? So everything that was done outside of God has to be returned. It has to be given back to what it should be. That's Judgment Day, okay? That's what you call Judgment Day. Judgment, though, is not God, okay? So I'd love to change that. Spirit calls it, you reap what you sow day. So recently I posted a video about this lady who can see the Akashic records. And I had showed you guys how that was very important. I've said many times, if you can't see in the Akashic records, you're not connected and you can't see what I've done. Because either you can see it through me or in the earth, or you can't stay. Okay, that's the key here. So on the Egyptian pyramids, they would put the scales, right? And they would have your heart on the scales of justice. You reap what you sow. That's what Spirit calls it, is you reap what you sow day. While I was bringing through the return of Christ, I asked God, I said, what is Judgment Day? Show me. And he did. And I did a video on it. I've mentioned it a few times, but I'm going to tell you again. Because people are in, there's like a whole energy of fear, right? And judgment, especially towards the one who brought it about. So we have to let that go. That's where you're being measured. Your heart is being measured to how much darkness, how much karma, shadow you've let in, how much love you want to have. That's what's happening. Okay. So Spirit said this about Judgment Day. It's not called Judgment Day. That's just what you guys know it as. It's you reap what you sow day. Okay. So your heart is measured. You get a heart review. And we saw this occur. I saw the council, and I was actually standing on a pillar, and the council was like over here in bleachers. And we all kind of converse, right? I do a heart review, and you are judged that way. Like, how much love do they have? Are they willing to let it go? Those kinds of things. That's Judgment Day. Spirit literally says Judgment Day is you reap what you sow. Some will stay. The earth does not die. I changed the earth. Okay. Those that stay reconnect to the new earth through healing and letting all go that is not of real God. Understand that? That's the key. But you do have to heal it. You have to upgrade. You have to evolve. DNA activations. It is evolution. Okay. You need to heal into the new earth. And in doing that, you need to let go of all karma and all shadow, and to be able to see clearly. And this is going to help you awaken. All right. So I'll explain it a little further. But what Spirit calls Judgment Day is you reap what you sow. Karmic base, that's what the karmic shift occurring is right in front of your eyes, like P. Diddy and all of those. Come on now, right? They're all going down, like burning. That's Judgment Day. And I also want to talk about the barge, the bridge. I think it was Brooklyn. We'll talk about that too. But it's you reap what you sow. Some will go, some will stay, and some will never know life this way. Those are the 3 exit points or staying point. Okay. Some will stay. Those are the ones who have pure hearts. You open your heart, you heal all the way to the pureness of you, which is healing back to God, because God is truly in our hearts. He's not in a house anymore. Okay. He never was. They lied to you. He is not in a church of religion, of division, of divide. He is not where they feed you what killed him. Okay, they call it the Last Supper because they poisoned him with bread and wine. And that's why they also make you do communion with bread and wine, so that you keep eating the poison that killed him. Okay, so all of you have shadow. I don't care who you are, you have shadow. I undid my lifetimes. Now you have to undo all of yours, because every lifetime is playing out right now. Every lifetime is being measured, not just this one. So on the 8th, the sun and the moon coming together, they've been realigned by the work that I did, and I've proven that. Okay, it's up to you to see it. That's part of Judgment Day. It is. You reap what you sow. If you choose not to see love and throw judgment my way, that's not good. And I've been saying that, right? And they said that in the videos too, like, don't do that because it hurts you. So determined on where your heart is on the scales determines where you go. And I talked about the 8th. It's not what people think it is. Some, they can tell it's something, but a lot of people throw darkness into God. And what you don't realize is God is nothing but love. Okay, I'm nothing but love. And the whole entire time on my journey, I would have these amazing things occurring. And I would show you, and I'd be so excited. And then I would be hit with people either can't see or they're completely embarked in the shadow. And it's heart-wrenching because I know what I did. I know what's coming. The earth will not go away. I've changed her. We moved her. We moved the poles. I brought 5 more poles. I undid all darkness back to the beginning of time. Every one of your lives are measured. Let's call it Measure Day, Love Measurement Day. How much love do you have? How much shadow do you have? How much karma do you have? And are you willing to let it go? That's why De La Roca said, rebuke Jezebel, because what you don't realize is Adam and Eve did not eat the apple. Adam chose a false goddess and killed Eve. That was the first lifetime that I was bringing back through when I rose Atlantis and I sat on Saturn with Hermes. It's all in the work, okay? So the false goddess, the Jezebel, that is what gets you. It's a lot of temptations, a lot of false beauty. God is pure love. God is unconditional love, masculine and feminine. It's not just masculine. So they snuffed out the feminine. They brought power to the masculine only. That's why women couldn't vote. They divided. They killed off Adam and Eve, Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and Sekhmet and Horus. So where you choose to not see and where you choose to anchor into the darkness, you just won't stay. Instead, there's two levels. Some will go, some will stay, right? Some will go, but some will never know life this way. What does that mean? When you will never know life this way, it's either because you weren't meant to be here and you took part in creating the death of true God and the detriment and the lack of love, or you really anchor into that darkness, which is what my DM had done. In the end, he had a black hole in his heart and he wouldn't have made it. So he was becoming a fallen. Okay. So those are the ones who will never know life this way. They won't. They'll have to start over. And that's why you hear some people talk about the cycles. There's like a 23,000 year cycle or something, but they'll never know life this way. So it won't be 23,000 years they'll get to come back. No, they actually are starting all over. Everything is undone and they will start all over somewhere else. Or they never belonged here to begin with. There are those two. Or they may have, right? So what happened was Archangel Samael fell. Forgive me, Michael. I work with him all the time. He's a good guy. Archangel Samael was the original fallen angel, and I burned him in clearing Mount Shasta Part 2. I undid his original contract of darkness, which was at Mount Shasta. That's where a lot of bloodshed would occur, and a lot of souls were trapped there. It was not of light. That's why a lot of spiritual people can't see either. Because there was a lot of rituals done there in the spiritual realm, supposedly, right? Using the light with the darkness. So he was the original. And then from there, he actually got humankind to turn against God. And that's what's been happening. That's what this world was based off of. That's the false matrix. Okay. So when I say April 8th is Judgment Day, it's not judgment. God doesn't judge you. Your heart has to be measured. Because if it's not pure love, you don't stay. If you can't choose pure love over everything that's not that, you're not ready to be here anymore. Because God has returned. And that's what I did. I brought God back to earth. That's why they call it the golden era, the great reset. And it all goes with revelations. My whole journey follows revelations. And they call it the great reset because all of your lives, no matter who you are, whether you stay or go, has been undone. You will never be in a karmic play out again. Now, there's one more group I didn't talk about, and those are the ones who will go. Not that we'll never know life this way, but they won't be able to stay now because they make it through, let's say, 6 of the 13 portals, because there's 13 gates, not 12. Again, they lied to you. 13th is heaven on earth. That's the one you have to get all the way through. Okay, that's past the gate of the Nile. It's all on my channel, and I know this is a lot. Okay, but you know, a lot of people want me to timestamp, but I feel like you need to hear everything. And sometimes we need to hear it more than once before it sinks in, because true God is quite vast. The work that I do is quite vast. It can take you 5 or 6 times to watch one video to hear everything that you have to say. And then a year later, you watch it again and you go, I didn't know she said that. And that's true. Ask all those that actually work with me. So I would warn you to want to not hear it, like to get annoyed because I'm repeating things. This is the end of days for some and the end of ways for all. So those that won't stay here, but they'll go to like the other side and have a chance to eventually come back Heaven's been brought back here. All of Garden of Eden will be the entire earth. I did that. I processed her death. I dried the Nile in the end. Horus returned. All of our power has been called back. All darkness has been removed. So you have to match that. You can't have any karma and any shadow. It's due now. That's what this sun and the moon alignment that shouldn't even exist is doing. Okay, it's so much energy. You have no choice but to reflect all of your truths out, and your heart is measured. How much love is in you? Are you willing to choose the new earth, or are you choosing your way out? Because some won't be ready to grow. It is soul growth. You have to grow out of everything that's not of God. Judgment, ego, fear, any kind of fear is not of God. Anything outside of love, unconditional love, is not of God. An imbalance in masculine and feminine, you have to be in balance in that. You guys, there's a lot to it, okay? It took me 5 years to undo it. It takes a lot of healing to get through it. And God has had me putting these videos out there. And maybe sometimes it's my delivery. God tells me that too. And I don't mean to reflect back the judgments back to any of you. I feel them and it hurts, but I am love and I will be love. So I'm working on that. Okay. So there's a certain group of individuals who maybe will have a pure heart through the gates, right? So there's different gates. Mount Shasta is one of them. That's the veil. Can you make it through the veil of illusion? That's your first portal. And each portal or lesson, they're trials and tribulations of God. You must carry through each one. So now I can see they lied. I can see that this was not good. And holy crap, I can see that's the veil. You make it through that. There's a portal of the mind. You have to make it through the portal of the mind, because the mark of the beast, they get in your head. They use your head against you. That's where ego resides. Ego is not of God at all. It doesn't exist at all. It was literally the psychological definition of ego is a matrix concept. It's a false mental capacity of the world that didn't exist. That's your ego. And in ego is where fear is found. And people try to say, even spiritual people to this day that have millions of followers will tell you that some fear is good. No, it's not. That lowers your vibration. That's where they anchored into. And unless they can heal out of that and see more clearly, portal of Mount Shasta, all of this stuff, they don't stay. The final portal is the Nile, and that one's wrath. No matter what is happening around you, if you can choose love over wrath, you make it to the new earth, but you have to make it to that portal, okay? And again, these lessons go throughout each portal, and it depends on what your karma is. So what you have done yourself outside of God, because Jesus didn't die for your sins, my friends, another illusion of the mind for control. That goes against free will, okay? So the ones that will go, not the ones that won't know life this way, the ones that will go, they will make it to a certain point in the portals. And that's just like the animals. So I brought all the animals through to the new earth already, and I did that with my group. Unfortunately, I wish I would have recorded that one, but I have witnesses. As we were taking the animals through, there was kickback. I think the kickback started at about the 5th gate. And the animals would get kicked back, and I wasn't able to bring them through because their DNA was messed with. Their genetic coding didn't match God anymore. And we cried. I could fix some of it. I got chills. Man, I was crying hard. We all were very upset that day. I could fix some of them, but I couldn't fix all of them. I couldn't heal all of their DNA. That's why they pushed the V against you when they did. Nothing is coincidental. Okay, those did mess with your DNA. So did some of the genetic modifications of our food and more. And all that has to go. The GMO farms actually burned. Anyways, so the animals got kicked back, and some I could not save. So they will die. They won't make it. They won't make it as the vibration rises because they're not viable. And past this portal, if you're not viable, yeah. How long? I don't know. Okay, the earth isn't going anywhere. I know I'm safe, right? But I think that's why the fear is coming in, because some people might not be past this point for too long. The vibration's too high. And this is an event. This is the sun and the moon together where they shouldn't be. And it's going to be mass amounts of light frequency coming in. And your heart is measured for if you are willing to grow or not. If you're not, how much further can you go? Okay. So the animals got kicked back and some will die. They won't stay here. They will have to be reborn here, purified and regrouped on the other side. So if you make it to a certain point of your karma, probably past like the 6th gate, you probably have to make it to one of the higher gates. God told me not everybody's going to make it through every gate. And those are the ones who will go to the other side and clear karma there and learn lessons there. And it takes a lot longer. And then eventually they'll be able to be reborn into the new earth, which is heaven on earth. And our life is expanding. We were never supposed to have such short lives. We were much bigger creatures back in the time of Atlantis. And I took us into 7D instead of 5D. So a lot longer lives we will have going forward eventually. I don't know when that'll be. And so that's Judgment Day, okay? God wanted me to explain that. And from a place of love, okay? So where you are not willing to give love, where you are not willing to look past fear into what is God, and where you are not willing to see truths and grow as a soul and clear what you have done. That's why that lady who can read the Akashic records specifically said, your shadow and karma, any pain, any wounds are now due. That is Judgment Day. God and as myself, I am actually, they showed me that I was the scales of justice. You don't have to believe me, but I saw that. And I saw myself standing on this pillar and I saw bleachers of what they called the council, because somebody I know had to be re-counseled and corrected. Okay. So I actually saw it. I saw it play out and they told me I'm the scales of justice. So your heart is measured for love. And that's why when I come outside of love, it hurts me too, right? Like I can't do that. I am that. So we have to work our way back to the heart space where pure love is. Let me repeat. Fear of any kind is not of God. It doesn't match the vibration. Judgment of any kind is not of God because everything's a reflection of you. That's painful. It hurts. That's not of God. Ego is not of God. Anything outside of the vibration of pure love can't stay. And this Judgment Day, you reap what you sow day, love measurement day, is just that. Where is your heart? What have you done? What are you willing to do? Some will go this way and some will go that way from this moment forward. One is your exit point, karmic play out. And that's what you're starting to see with like Diddy and everything. It's a karmic play out. Okay. Now, main structure systems like this barge that just collapsed that bridge, right? It was in Baltimore. I knew things like that are coming. If you watch my workshops, when I moved the poles, when I activated the earth, when I activated pyramids, all these kinds of things, processing her death, they told you many times in those that what you're about to see play out is divinely guided. Okay. So any structure collapses, all of the structure is going to collapse, and it's going to collapse in waves. Because if it happened all at once, most people, it just can't happen that way. Okay. That's too much on our mental capacity, and it's already too much on the mental capacity of the collective soul. Everybody has such false information. There's not a lot of truth going on out there, unfortunately. And there's bits and pieces of it. You just have to know where to look. And so it would be a mess if that happened that way. And God wouldn't do it that way. God is good. He gives you the opportunity to grow. And he asks you a couple times, like, are you sure? Are you sure you don't want to grow? Are you sure you don't want love flow? Okay, because it's a rite of passage. Okay. But that structure, that was divinely guided. That was the gods. If you guys realize, recently the cherubs spread across the earth. I told you that. All of the cherubs, God put all over the earth. I had to read the scroll for that one. That's preparation for this event. We've put up a dome of light around the earth for protection. Okay. And even this devil's comet that's coming, I did something to it yesterday in a exchange healing with my graduate, somebody that went through the path with me and is in the new earth with me. As we were doing it, we had to put up like this barrier for this comet. And they said 5 days from now, it was going to try to disrupt the April 8th because the masculine hasn't rose for protection, but is trying to cause chaos for all of us, for him, for me, for you, for everybody. He's rose. He just has to choose love. We all do. Okay. However, we put up like this barrier. So in 5 days from that day, which would put it on the 7th, it is going to hit this barrier. It's going to lose sight with Earth, hit this barrier, and it's going to implode and shoot back to which it came from. So even the devil's comet is relative. There's no coincidences here. And that is supposed to intercept around the 8th of April with the energy coming in, okay? Because they want your soul. It's a battle for your soul. I'm sure you've heard that somewhere. It's true. And I fought hard to bring it all through. I almost died 3 times on this journey. That's not a joke. So it's very real, okay? So understand who true God is and let everything else go. And that's why De La Roca said, get your house in order. Because this is literally Judgment Day. Or I can't even, it's you reap what you sow day. It's love measurement day. How much love is in you? Because only love will stay. Only love will stay. And any barge collapse, any big shipment collapses, any structure collapses and falling, and the earth movements, so tornadoes, earthquakes, all of those things are all divinely guided at this point in time. But you would know that because you would have watched me undo the structure, undo satellites that were listening in. And I said, the next time they do, their ears will bleed. You saw that, right? I hope so, because I've done so much work. And all that work, God had me record it, and I didn't know why. And in the end, he had me put 5 years of work together and call it the path to righteousness, and I didn't know why. Turns out that only Jesus can give that path to righteousness, and that is me and my twin flame. Okay. So that is the explanation of what the false judgment day is and what the real you reap what you sow heart measurement to love scales, justice, scales of justice is. All right. The earth is not going anywhere. She's staying. And some of us who can see, who choose God, who choose love through every trial and tribulation and anything that comes their way, they can tell what the shadow is and they can tell what is not, and they're willing to battle it the whole way through. Those are the ones that stay. Some will grow to a certain point, meet their demise at gate 8, and won't remain. Some of them won't even make it through gate 1 because they're the ones who took part in all this destruction and dismay, and they love carnage. They will never know life this way. God has returned. I hope this helps you, my friends. Please check out my channel. Don't throw judgment towards me. I would warn you against that, please, because I wish everybody could stay. Until next time, my friends, I hope you have a beautiful day. I'll see you next time. Bye.